With The Witcher 3 being officially confirmed for Nintendo Switch at Nintendo's E3 Direct, I wanted to pose the question that I think the vast majority of fans of the game, and perhaps newcomers as well, have been thinking. For this massive open world RPG that is incredibly technically demanding, how will it run on the Switch? Now obviously I've got no idea what the answer to that question is, however I thought why the hell not just discuss how I think it'll go. First of all, of course, the announcement that it's coming to Switch in the first place is quite exciting. It's a complete edition, it includes all the DLC, including the huge expansion packs for the game, Hearts of Stone, as well as Blood and Wine. And as a huge fan of the game, I'm really excited for this, for the opportunity to, of course, as is the case with everything on Switch, to play it on the go, because there's almost no doubt that that is the main reason that anyone would purchase a third-party game on Switch. We're always going to get these downgrades from a visual perspective, but it's the portability that really makes it enticing despite those limitations graphically. Because obviously it's going to receive significant downgrades visually, which you've just got to accept that's 100% going to be the case when you're dealing with the limited hardware. But the main question is, of course, are those graphical downgrades going to be enough to ensure that the game runs at a stable frame rate? Because at the end of the day, at least for me personally, and I presume for most people that are excited for the port, that's all I want, is to ensure that the moment-to-moment gameplay itself isn't affected by the hardware that it's on, and that can only be the case if the frame rate is still stable. We already have a fair bit of information regarding the specs for this version. We know the port's being developed by Saber Interactive, and the Witcher account actually responded to a Twitter user confirming the port will run at 540p in handheld mode and 720p on the TV. Now, obviously this is quite low, especially compared to most other Switch games. I would say it's standard for a Nintendo Switch game to run at 1080p on the TV and then 720 on the screen of the actual console itself, because that is a 720p screen. But the resolution is lower than that, which is at first glance naturally a little bit disappointing, but I actually think it's good news, to be honest, and the reason for that is the fact that there's no other reason for these downgrades to have occurred, knowing that the Switch is more than capable of doing a resolution higher than that, and the reason the resolution is so low is to make sure that frame rate is stable. So the fact that they've confirmed they've made those concessions, to me, is a great sign that they've been willing to take steps to ensure it runs at a stable 30 frames. And that's really exciting. Digital Foundry has already done some fantastic analysis, as they always do, as they have already been able to show clearly the extent to which the graphics have been downgraded. So I've made it clear, all I want for this port, regardless of the visual downgrades, regardless of the resolution, is for it to run at a stable 30 frames for most of the time, of course. I don't want to be unreasonable. Hell, my base PS4 often has frame rate dips with The Witcher 3 when I'm running through highly populated areas, such as Novigrad, where there's a lot of NPCs around. So if my PS4 is getting those kind of dips, then, you know, I think it's fair to assume that the Switch is going to have dips. I'm not saying that I need it to run, like, absolutely perfectly, but obviously I hope more than anything it runs competently, and honestly I think it will, with these downgrades that Saber Interactive is doing. And I think that they're more than aware over there, as well as at CD Projekt Red, of course, that when a fan hears The Witcher 3 on Switch, I'm sure the first thing that they know we think of, and that they thought of too when the idea came in their heads, was, oh, that's probably not going to run well. I'd be shocked if they started porting the game without having any idea of how exactly the end result was going to turn out. At the end of the day, they probably wouldn't have done it if they weren't confident it was going to run well. Now obviously the game still looks absolutely fantastic. I was playing it just the other day and it looks gorgeous still, but I guess a supporting fact for the stable frame rate that it will hopefully have is the fact that at this point the game is 4 years old. I do think that is a definite bonus and something that should help ensure that it runs smoothly. So this Witcher 3 Switch port, it had been rumoured for a while, but it's finally happening. I'm super excited to play it. I love the game so much, I'm happy to play it again, and I think, again, that portable aspect is going to definitely bring something new to the game that I'm definitely excited to try out. And I really don't mind the visual downgrades we're definitely going to get. The opportunity to experience the world and the story and everything again, on the go, wherever the hell I am, It's going to be great, I'm pretty stoked for it. The only question now is when exactly it might come out. The Direct said it would come out in fall of 2019, and considering that's only 5 months away or so, it is interesting that that is left still quite vague. At the end of the day, it's a game that at that point would have been 4.5 years old. I don't really think it needs room to breathe in terms of when it's coming out. I think it can be dropped at any time, and it's going to sell well no matter what, because people love The Witcher 3, and a lot of people have heard about it that I know haven't played it before, so it's going to do well regardless, I think. I don't believe CD Projekt Red would be too fussed as to the release date exactly. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you're interested in playing The Witcher 3 on Switch. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe consider subscribing, I'd definitely appreciate it. This has been SirCazz, farewell.